Yo, what is good, my anime faithful? What is good, yo? My God, the VLAN is pretty ridiculous, man. Not only do they make this character feel so relatable and feel like he's actually a real person, it always feels like the kid is the audience more than the Vikings are when it comes down to certain ways people react to stuff, and just seeing his reaction to the bodies and absolutely losing his pretty much his stomach. That's exactly what I would do. But seeing how these Vikings have literally lived this life and have, gone around dead bodies all the time, it really doesn't affect them at all. Like, at all, because who would care when you're about to cause more dead bodies than the ones that are already there, right? But this week's episode gives us, excuse me, this week's episode gives us two good looks at what I expected to come with the show, and not only two good looks, a third look at just where the heart and soul of this character is literally going, because as of right now, it looks like he's going to completely lose himself and become something he never wanted to be, only for the simple fact to get something that is going to be a fleeting high probably very quickly. So it's definitely it's getting very, very, dark in the case of like the light that he had, to live his life, and the life that Thor actually fought for is kind of disappearing. Like every kill now is another step away from his humanity. Every time now that he goes in and fights, he's going to take life, and not only is he going to take life, he's not even going to look like the same person while doing it. To the fact that this woman didn't even know who she was looking at anymore once he started to actually get into the battle. Um, Not only that, I mean, it made sense why she ran to check on him, because she's already putting her son's name on him that's died 2 years ago, so clearly she's not over it. And the first sign of something that, seemingly seemed like it could remotely remind her of her son, she, you know, clammed onto it. So, I don't know. It felt very powerful, but at the same time, it almost felt as if, with all this coming in line, um, where does where does certain other things fall into place? Where do things start to go awry? And that's what we start learning really quickly, is that with him being here, with him learning all these things, he's just learning how to pretty much be a Viking more than he is learning to be, a good person, or uh, a farmer. Uh, all of the things we have seen this character like learn from his father is just going out the window, and more that he hangs out with these guys and has to live in these circumstances. Mind you, they almost made it look like, what this week's episode with the Vikings, they literally kind of made it look like this was all planned, right? Like, not only was him washing up on shore a part of their plan and looking completely injured and distraught, but it was almost as if he didn't do this and find the village and set the signal, the Vikings wouldn't have known, when to attack or whatever, or when, where the place was to attack at night when everybody's not ready for it. So it's these types of things that they put in the show that really give you an understanding of where our character is going, like where he's going to wind up in the future. And not only that, saving the life of the person that he wants to see dead, but not even allowing other people to try to get that satisfaction of killing him for him. So he's really gone into the deep end. This man is practically or this boy is practically becoming the most, methodical person when it comes down to killing this guy. And it would suck if, like, someone else took it away from him. All this work, all this effort you've been putting in, and all of a sudden, you can't even fight the guy you've been wanting to fight. That would be pretty annoying. Not only that, you add on to the fact that uh, you can see your own village in these people. You can see your own mom and your own sister in these two people you pretty much tricked into thinking that you're just some kid on the run. And I can't. I guess you can't really say he tricked him. It's not like he said, "Oh, I'm not a pirate. Oh, I'm not this. I'm not that." He never said anything. And with seeing the wound and everything he had on him, not to mention him slowly pulling out his dagger to straight up be ready to fight, gave us all the indications that we needed to know, or at least should have gave the old woman the indication she needed to know, that this kid is not only dangerous, but this is probably the kid they just literally told you killed two grown men. So it was kind of weird to see her, like, bursting out in tears when you literally just heard everything you needed to hear about he is the one that destroyed two grown men that protect your village. Not only that, he sets a signal fire for the Vikings to come and do their thing, which before this even happens, he literally speaks in English to warn them to run. Like, he actually uses their tongue, seeing how he couldn't understand really what they were saying. But nevertheless, he learned to run as quickly as possible in their tongue, and I think it's easy because that's all they yell while they're running from the Vikings. So it was probably one of the first things he picked up while they were in distress, which is kind of sad to say, but at the same time, he had to learn it one way or another, right? Like, if he doesn't understand their language, but somehow he knows how to say one word, where did that word come from? But yeah, holy crap. His fighting style is what I've been dying to see. How much of a ridiculously beastly kid does he become with these dual wield blades, or just one dagger at the time? And man, did he go off. He was going so off. My God. I honestly can't wait to see what they do with this show. This show has been nothing but short of amazing when it comes down to their way of storytelling, their way of giving us the information on the screen without even, like, telling us. This character feels like a real person, and after losing and having everything that's happened to him, there's not many words I could see him saying. Like, I don't see him being a well-spoken, well-rounded person to talk. There's still things his father didn't even teach him nor tell him about his life, right? Like, we never learn what Thor's past was. Maybe we'll learn through a character that, grew up with him or something, but that seems unlikely with how he left, his main army to pretty much be here and make this village. So that just goes to show you he might not even have anybody that made it out long enough to know his past as well. So it's ridiculous how, like, much happens in this show, and not only how much happened this week, but the fact of the matter that this kid is becoming probably one of the best, if not the best fighter in this raid squad of Vikings, and I don't even think they know it, right? Like, the people who are working with him don't even really know that they're getting, like, outclassed by this kid by a lot. So it's interesting, and none to say the least, and I really can't wait to see, like, how people take this show. This show is hardcore, and the only thing they're not doing is showing, like, what the Vikings do to the villagers afterwards and stuff, which is kind of obvious when they say we're going to keep the women, all the food, and all this and that. They're just simply stating that they're going to do it, but they never actually go into details of showing it throughout animation of what happens to them, right? So that's the only non-hardcore thing about this anime at this point. I'm guessing the manga might go into more detail of that. I'm not entirely sure, but to think that the old woman kind of just like vanished into thin air out of nowhere almost made it feel like he just didn't even uh he didn't pay attention, or he didn't care to see what they did to her. They just happened to snatch her and drag her off, like with no real consequence of him. He said what he had to say. He told her to run. So I think he might feel a little bit better about that situation. He's like, I told her to run. I mean, take a deep breath and let's go kill. Like, he is very, very out of character now, and it's all because of this life he's been living. But at the same time, I called out that he might wound up becoming one of these guys, like, only in the grand scheme of how he is right now. He's not gonna open up to them. He's not gonna be their best friends. But as of right now, he's one of their best scouts already. So I don't know. He's already gotten pretty deep into this Viking life, and like I said before, he saved the guy that he actually wanted to destroy. Looking at him, almost acknowledging that he can't beat him. Like, he's reached a point of his life that these people that he's fighting are going down relatively easy enough, but when you fought the guy that you want to fight, all of the things you're doing are still moves and things he can catch on to. So it's very interesting. I like the way that they're playing this evil role for this guy. Not only is it evil, but he seems to not care about any of his men when they get attacked in the forest by the people who pretty much ambush him while they're making the deal to pretty much attack back. Like, oh, you're gonna go attack these people and do this for us. Okay, but let's make our deal and get this, sorted out. And then those people who made that deal literally die in this next, like, instance. So I don't even know if they're still gonna make that deal, or if they're still gonna be able to, get their prize for doing what they're gonna do, all this stuff. So it comes down to a very weird situation there, but at the same time, I'm guessing they're gonna figure it out pretty easily. Like, by taking out one of these villages and seeing that they're there, the people who get sent there will probably already know, right? So, with all that being said, though, my anime people, I got another video I want to drop very soon here. So if you guys are excited for another upload, make sure you check that out, and I will definitely be talking to you guys sooner than later. I don't think anything else really comes out today, so I'll probably be talking to you tomorrow as soon as possible. But yeah, I hope you guys have an amazing day, night, evening, and I truly, truly appreciate everybody putting up with the noise in the background. I can't stop my PlayStation 4 from sounding like a jet engine, so even if I move far away from it, put my mic and try to cover up the sound away from it, it still is picking it up somehow. So I do apologize for that. So I will be looking into getting ways to fixing it. But with all that being said, peace.